All right, moving on with our circles. We've got 3 sections to go. This is section 10-6, and it's going to be about something called secants, which we haven't talked about yet, tangents, which we just talked about, and the angle measures that they form. Okay, so secants, tangents, and angle measures. So the only thing that you don't know already is what the word secant means. And it's really easy. It's just a line that intersects a circle at exactly 2 points. So a quick picture again. So here's our circle. Here's our line that intersects it at exactly 2 points. We'll label everybody. This will be circle C. This will be A, B, and we're going to make this be a line. So make sure we put our little arrows on the end so we know it's a line. Now, the only difference between a line and a chord, or a secant and a chord, is that a secant is a line and a chord is a segment. So AB, line AB, is a secant of circle C, right? That's the word we just learned, a secant. But segment AB is a chord, which we already know. So secant is literally a chord, but just if it's extended out forever in both directions. So nothing too exciting. Now, what is exciting is that when secants and tangents intersect. So when secants and tangents intersect, specific angle relationships are formed. So specific angle relationships are formed. And the way that we're going to write these down is how they can intersect. So I'm going to draw a quick picture. You don't need to draw this, just pay attention to it. So we have a circle, right? If we have secants and tangents intersecting, the idea is that they can either intersect inside the circle, they can intersect outside the circle, or they can intersect on the circle, right? So we're either going to be inside, outside, or on the circle. Remember, I said don't write this because we're going to do much better pictures than this. But we're going to go ahead and make kind of a little table. So we're going to say inside the circle, outside the circle, and on the circle. So if you want to split your page up into kind of a little table, might help you keep it a little more organized. So the first thing we're going to do for each one is draw a picture of what that looks like. So for all three, we're going to need a circle. And then we're going to draw some chords or some secants or tangents intersecting inside the circle. We're going to draw some intersecting outside the circle. And we're going to draw some intersecting on the circle. And we're going to label everything. So take a minute to get these pictures right, and then it'll be a lot easier for you to look back at your notes. And we're going to label all the angles with numbers just because it makes it so much easier to use numbers instead of angle ABC, angle XYZ. It's a lot easier to use angle 1. So once you've got all your pictures labeled, if you need to pause it and get the pictures right, do that now. Once you've got them all labeled, though, we're going to write down the relationships between these angles and these arcs. So when we intersect inside a circle, the angles that are formed, so we're going to look at angle 1. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 of the measure of angle arc AD plus the measure of angle arc BC. And so in your picture, that's this arc AD and BC. We're going to stop right there. Just going to write down the formula, then we're going to do an example in a minute. When we're outside a circle, the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 the measure of arc BC minus the measure of arc AD. So that's arc BC minus arc AD. And some people will say, well, can I do arc AD minus arc BC? And not really, because we're subtracting, so we always need to do the bigger one minus the smaller one. So not a big deal, but make sure you do the bigger one minus the smaller one. The letters don't matter. It's the fact that this is the big one and this is the small one. Okay, the last picture, when we have an intersection on the circle, the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2 the measure of arc AB, which is from A to B right there. Okay, so we'll do quick examples now. So we're going to have angle 1, and this arc is going to be 80 degrees, and this arc is going to be 30 degrees. So to find the measure of angle 1, measure of angle 1 equals 1/2 of one of the arcs plus the other arc. So the measure of angle 1 is 1/2 of 80 plus 30, which is 110. So the measure of angle 1 equals 55 degrees. So that's it. See, it's a lot of, up here when we write the formula, it's a lot of weird notation and it looks difficult, but when you actually do the problems, you just do this plus this divided by 2, and that's the answer. So not real complicated. All right, so an example of an outside the circle. Let's use our same numbers. We'll say this is 80 degrees, and this is 30 degrees, and this is angle 1. Well, the measure of angle 1 is equal to 1/2. Remember, we want to do the big one minus the small one. So it's 1/2 of 50. So the measure of angle 1 equals 25 degrees. See, very simple. You look at the picture, and if it's outside, you do 1/2 of the big one minus the small one, and that's it. Problem solved. All right, last example. And so all we'll know is that this is angle 1, and we'll know that our arc from here to here is 80 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 equals 1/2 of the arc, 80 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 equals 40 degrees. That's it. That's all there is to it. See you tomorrow.